guys, so the reason I'm making this video is years ago I broke my wrist, and this is the stuff that I actually have done that has helped me so much with my wrist. And yeah, I just want to share that. Hopefully someone out there is struggling with maybe a little bit of wrist pain or anything like that, and yeah, this will help get rid of it and help strengthen up. And also all of this stuff is prerequisite and necessary to be able to do handstands anyway. So yeah, if you want to crack that, then you need to get these done first. Let's get it.
Alright guys, make your way down to the mat, and the first thing that we're going to be doing is just rocking back and forth on your wrists, trying to just put a little bit of pressure into there. Don't lean too far forward yet, and we're just trying to warm up and slowly build up to putting more and more tension and more pressure into our wrists over time. So just slowly work your way up further and further, the shoulders coming further over your hand.
Also guys, the setup for your hands when you're going through all of these movements, try and spread your hands as wide as possible and be gripping the ground. So you're spreading the fingers and gripping the ground. It's going to give you the most return.
So we're going to do the same movement again, and this time we're leaning slightly further forward and just loading up the wrists a little bit more. Remember the big gripping open hand, and just play around, moving side to side, distribute the weight differently, put a little bit more on the left or the right, and just play with the positions of your wrist, or forcing blood through there and opening up all that space so that when we get into actually practicing the handstand, we've got wrists that are nice and limber and won't hurt and won't get injured. So pick a direction, either circling to the left or to the right, and we'll do a few circles, opening up space all around the wrist, and switch over to the other side. If you were going left before, now circle to the right, and vice versa. While this is all happening, make sure that you're spreading your fingers, gripping the ground with your fingers. And now just take a seat back onto your heels. We're going to do an exercise that I call praise circles, pressing the palms of your hands together with open wide fingertips, and just do a circle like I'm doing in the video here. And you can apply pressure further on the inside or the outside of your wrist depending on where you have tightness. So this, for me, I just love playing around in the different ranges, and I find some certain areas that just have a little bit more tension in my wrist, and just making sure that I loosen all of those out, keeping these circles going and pushing and finding those spots. And the next exercise here, just place your hands on either side of your legs, leaning forward, and push your body weight up only using your wrist and your fingertips. So you're trying to flex your hand, and that lifts you up off the ground. So if you feel like that's too easy by your side, you can lean forward like I'm doing now in the video, and press away only using the muscles in your wrists, flexing through the hand just like that. So we'll get a few reps done. Do whatever variation you need. You can slide further back towards your body, towards your knees, if you want a little bit less weight, or you can go all the way forward if you're comfortable with that. And yeah, this is just one of those movements that is essential. Getting strength in this position for the handstand is one of the most critical things that I learned along my journey. And the stronger that you are here, being able to press away, the more you're going to be able to catch yourself when falling forward in a handstand, which is probably the most common thing that I've seen most people do. And next up is a very similar movement, but this time we're only pressing from the fingers, not from the wrist. So I'm not planting my wrist onto the ground, not planting the base of my hand onto the ground, and only pressing through the fingertips, extending, putting as much weight as I can bear into those fingers, and just extending through the hand. Less of the wrist, more in the hand. It's just the slight variation between these two movements. And moving on to a similar exercise, but this time we're just doing it the opposite way. So rather than flexing your hand down, you're now going to be flexing it up, using the back of your hand to pull your body weight up. This one is definitely a lot more tricky, but it's so important to balance out how much strength we have on either side especially when it comes to the practicality in a handstand. So just flex all the way as high as you can onto your fingertips. Play around with this. Try and be giving your hand as much weight as you can handle. It's going to feel a little strange, but very similar to the movements before. And coming to a close of this movement, just give your wrists a bit of a shake out. Find some positions that feel a little funky, do some circles if you feel like it, just do whatever your wrists are calling for. So now what we're going to be doing is putting our hands into that original position, the starting position, but this time we're going to lean a little bit further. You can copy me on your toes if you feel like you can handle that much weight in your wrists. Mine are definitely feeling slightly warmer now, so I'm leaning forward into a plank position, putting as much weight as I can bear into my wrists. And with this, be generous on yourself. Really try and load as much as you can handle. Push the range, max it out, and pull back. Push the range, max it out, hold it, and pull back. Push the range again, hold some tension. You can really hold it there. Push away through your shoulder blades, even if you're on your knees, and just load up those wrists, really trying to maximize this big amount of tension so that when we get into the handstand, we're going to be warm. Sit back, shake them out again, do some circles, do whatever your wrists are feeling like they need. Some circles in, some circles out. Play with the different positions, back into that praise circle if you feel like it. I'm really just trying to emphasize that we all have different areas of tension and you just need to do whatever you need. So let's do another round, holding a lot of tension in our wrists, really getting them prepped for the handstand. Leaning forward, relaxing back. Really making sure that we've got a wide grip on the mat and we're leaning as far forward, as far as you can handle, pressing away through the shoulders, and giving your wrists as much tension as you feel like they can handle, because when we're doing the handstand, they got no choice. They're going to be slammed with tension, and you need to make sure that they're ready to rock and roll and hold that body weight. And just play around, load up in different ways. And coming into the second to last movement, we're going to be combining two. From the fingertips, press away, roll onto the back of the hand and press back. Try to use as little of your body weight as possible and extend through your wrists and through your fingers as much as possible. Wake everything that hasn't been woken up yet, all the different muscle groups you can find in your hand. Open hand, press through the fingertips as hard as you can, press through the wrist, back and forth, and just keep rocking through these. At the top of each range, see if you can stretch a little bit further each time, loading up through your hand, through the top, and then loading up through the bottom, through the wrist. And moving on to the last exercise, back into that original position, pushing the shoulder blades away, pushing as hard as you can through the ground. Really be as active as possible here so the shoulders are also nice and warm. Press away, grip the ground, and now what we're doing is rotating your elbows in and out. Look closely to what I'm doing here. I'm simply rotating my elbows in, rotating them out, rotating them in, and rotating them out. You may feel different areas of tension. You might find it's more sore for you when you rotate in versus out. And if that's the case, then just spend a little bit more time in whatever variation that you find is harder for you.
So now that my wrists are nice and warm, it's time to crush some handstands and get that progression going. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope that your wrists are now feeling warm and you're ready to train. Please feel free to check out my previous videos and watch out for all the stuff that I've got coming out. I'm super excited to share more of this journey with you guys. With that being said, we've got one shot at this. Every last drop, guys. Let's go.